welcome back to Living Life Wide Open with the McGees. I'm Sunshine.
And I'm Brendon.
And today we have a special episode in honor of the last day of Men's Mental Health Month. We're going to be interviewing my honey. I think if you saw the last video, you may have seen a video of our eldest son, but you also see that it's gone. So part of holistic, deleted. Part of holistic parenting is honoring the space that our children are in and meeting them where they are mentally and emotionally. So with that being said, it was in all of our best interests to delete him completely from the show. But no worries. We're going to be interviewing my honey bun, the war veteran, my business partner, today in honor of Men's Mental Health. And I have my phone so I can make sure I don't forget any questions to keep me on track.
Keep me on
track because I got that little issue.
A little ailment.
All right, little ailment. Yeah, so this conversation is breaking silence, it's breaking stigma, and it's holding space for men to speak, be seen, and be heard, and also to heal. So whether you're a man looking for support or someone who loves a man who's on a healing path, this episode is for you. So let's dive in. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. What was the moment or period in your life when you realized your mental health needed your attention?
I'm going to say the first time I really realized that it needed my attention was after my third deployment, coming back from Iraq. And I noticed some of the signs of what they call PTSD.
And post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah. But at that point in time, I was like, I don't want to go. I didn't want to talk to anybody, but I wanted to try a different approach to it and try to work the issue on my own and everything. So I sought really, like, one was meditation, going inside and asking myself, like, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling like this? And to really process my feelings, my physical reactions to certain situations, and also really journaling and getting everything out, everything that's spinning around in my head, getting it out through journaling.
Okay. So you kind of answered a couple of other questions, but I'm gonna ask them anyway.
Okay,
they're my little.
They're there. They keep you on task. You don't see little shiny squirrels and go off in the distance.
Right. So was there ever a time you felt ashamed or hesitant to speak about your mental health? And if you did, how did you move through it?
I'm not going to say ashamed. I'm going to say, not ashamed, but at a time when later on, I'll say like my last couple of years in the military, I started losing interest in things that I love to do, like I really started to lose interest with things. I was finding it hard to find joy in a lot of things. I found it difficult to get up some days. Like it was a struggle just to get up. And during those times, I was like, man, am I depressed? And I really didn't want to put a name to it because, like, not me. Like, how am I getting depressed? I always find the positive side of every situation.
Right.
I'm very optimistic, and I felt myself like literally like drowning. I started to question, like, why am I here? Like, would anybody even miss me if I was gone? I was like, my family be taken care of, they'll get my life insurance policy, they'll be fine, they'll move on. Suicidal thoughts, crept in and everything. And it was hard. I'm not gonna say it was hard, but I'm so used to processing things on my own
Right.
So I wasn't speaking to you. I wasn't talking to anybody about what I was dealing with internally. On the outside, for majority of the world, you know, they probably thought, oh, he's fine.
Right.
Um, and I think that was about the first time that I was like, you know what, let me go talk to somebody. And even when I was talking with a therapist, it was kind of funny because I would talk about how I process things and how I'm working through, you know, how I'm feeling and what I'm feeling. And they're like,
Right.
oh, well, you're actually doing, and they gave, you know, a medical term for how I'm processing, um, you know, my emotions,
Right.
and
Do
how
you
I'm framing
recall
things.
that term?
I don't. I probably got it written down somewhere. Um, but I mean, it was as I was processing things and as I was verbalizing it and talking with the therapist, it was good to hear that, you know, I've been doing things the right way. But at that point in time, it was good to really just get it out.
Right.
So yeah, that was a time when it wasn't difficult. Maybe you could frame it as being difficult, but it wasn't something I was ashamed about. It was just like, hey, I'm trying to work this, you know, on my own.
Do you feel like that's the norm for men to internalize and process things the way you're choosing to do it? Is that normal?
I'm gonna say it's not normal because the norm for most men is just to suppress it and
Okay.
not address it. Um, because, you know, unfortunately, still in this day and age, you know, dealing with your emotions, dealing with your mental health is seen as a weakness, which it's not. Um, so yeah, it's
And that's
just
powerful to
not.
say. It's not a weakness.
No, it's not. I say people run for the things that they're afraid of. So to me, suppressing your emotions, suppressing something that you need to address is fearful.
Right.
I think it's very courageous to address what's going on internally so you can be whole.
I agree. Holistic. So, how did you first discover holistic health as a tool for mental well-being?
I first discovered it. You know, I'm one that likes to read. I like to research things. Um, so I can't remember exactly what I came upon, but it was, you know, journaling.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've you know, sat down and I've wrote things before, but sitting down and journaling my thoughts, getting things out, and processing things that way, even posing questions to myself,
Right.
um, was a good way for me to, you know, process my emotions and things that I was going through mentally. And that was around, like I said, after I back in, what was that, 2011? Yeah, 2011. So like 2011, 2012, end of 2011, beginning of 2012 is when I began, you know, meditating and journaling.
Discovering.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of touched on this in the beginning and then just now. So, what specific
Excuse me.
holistic practices have you made the biggest difference in your mental health journey?
Oh man, journaling, definitely journaling has been very helpful for me because sometimes I wake up and something to be like spinning on my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and to sit down and just put everything, whether it be writing or typing, getting it out has been a great release
Okay.
for me and everything, and seeing things on paper. And if it's something I need to um, process, then I'll process it. But if it's something I need to just get out, like, okay, cool, I got that out of my head, and I'm good, and you know, be able to continue on.
Okay. And I guess I want to add, you didn't say this, but you do go to the gym and you do get physical.
Oh yes, going to like working out. I mean, it's been so natural for me, but working out has definitely been a another outlet, because that just working out alone for me is connecting body, mind, and spirit at the same time.
Right.
So it's, for me, it's more like a ritual, spiritual practice, going to the gym and working out, and at the same time, if there's something on my mind, I can process it as I'm working out,
Right.
as well.
That makes sense. So during this journey with you spending time with yourself and your spirituality and everything, have you recognized a correlation between your childhood, I don't want to say trauma, but your childhood experiences and your current mental state?
Oh man, yes. I'm gonna say so this past year, um, one thing that I noticed, which was like just like out of the blue, um, anytime I would hear like certain songs from like 1992,
Oh
like
yeah.
I'm talking about like upbeat songs, could be like crisscross jump jump,
Right.
you know, and I would start crying,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean like like a deep emotional cry, like the welling up, and depending on where I was at, I'm like, oh, what the hell? So I would like, okay, let me hold on, what's going on?
Right.
Um, and I had to sit with it because it was like imagine you got news that like your grandmother passed away, like
Yeah, I know that
that
feeling.
type of emotional cry
Yeah.
feeling is what I felt. And so I would sit down and like, okay, what was going on during that time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had to, go back in my mind, like what happened in 1992. And then it would happen with really like songs between 1991, 92 to about 94,
Okay.
would have this emotional effect. And I sat down and was really just analyzing my life back then. I was about 91, I was 11, of course, 92, I was 12. And between, well, I'll just give a frame between 1990, between the time I was 10 and 14,
Mm-hmm.
I went through 7 different schools.
Gee.
We lived in, I think I counted 8 homes. Yeah, 7 different schools and 8 homes, during that time frame. And a part of that in 92, my parents separated,
Mm-hmm.
which um, caused us to move and a whole lot.
Yeah.
Um, and just during those years, that's your early adolescence.
Absolutely.
And that's during the time when you're trying to find your place in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for a place to belong.
Mm.
You're looking for security. And all of that for me was just being
Ripped away,
ripped away.
essentially. Yeah.
I can kind of remember like 92, summer of 92, just finished up 7th grade. And we had been living there for about a year and a half. And I was like, man, I was looking at my yearbook from the 7th grade, reading over things that, all the other kids had written. I'm like, man, I got a good group of friends. I can't wait for the 8th grade.
Right.
I'm happy. And
The rug
it
just
was just like
pulled.
ripped away. Um, so, like I said, during those years, it was a lot of moving, um, and really not a lot of stability.
Right.
And what I've noticed is through my adult life, I never got comfortable anywhere I went. Ironic enough, I chose a career in the military that
Right.
kept me on the move. So at least every 3 years, I was moving.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as I reflect, I never fully unpacked anywhere I went to, whether it be boxes in the garage, whether it
Mm-hmm.
be boxes in storage, or even a box in a room. I never fully unpacked because, um, unconsciously, hey, don't get too comfortable because it'll be taken away. That
Right.
that comfort, that stability will be taken away. Um, so fast forward to today, I know one thing I've expressed to you is like, hey, I like traveling the world, but I want to have a home base. I
Right.
want to have at least a home, like, hey, we can hit all continents, different countries, but we always come back to home.
Right.
Um,
A home that you can unpack.
right, that I can fully unpack and not having to worry about, hey, I got to pack this up. Hey, it's time to move. You know, um, we got to get rid of some things. Um,
Because that's been our most recent
yeah.
issue. We don't really argue, but that has actually been an argument for us. Is why are you not packing? Why are you not unpacking? Why are we holding on?
And as I look like throughout my military career, I've always had that feeling. Anytime it was time for me to PCS, there was always like I'll wait till the last minute to pack up my stuff or get my
Mm-hmm.
stuff ready. And luckily, there were movers that would come pack the
Right.
majority of the stuff for me.
Yeah.
Um, but it was always like an internal like resistance, excuse me. But I never really had the opportunity to like, hey, what is this feeling that I'm feeling? Because hey, I got work to do, X, Y, and
Family.
Z. It's time to move.
Mm-hmm.
So it was it wasn't until I retired and now I'm able to be like, all right, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this? And it really stems all the way back to, that 11, 12-year old
Right.
self, that never really got to feel comfortable and stable
Mm-hmm. Or feel
and
safe.
feel
Really.
safe. Um, so now it's me working through to reframe um, the moving and the packing and everything.
Right.
And also looking at, our two youngest now and understanding what the effects of constant moving can be
Right.
and wanting to give them a safe space and to give them stability so they can really find their place in the world
Right.
as well.
Right. Right. And we had that conversation too, and it was actually causing me some issues, like I mentioned before. And you explained it to me, and I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense." Like your inner boy, inner Brendon, baby Brendon, is having some problems, some issues, and so I
Yeah.
do appreciate you uh, addressing it and being honest with me and explaining it to me because I didn't know. So I do appreciate it. Okay, so looking back at the practices, the holistic practices that you have,
Mm-hmm.
can you walk us through a day when you lean on those practices the most? Like, what does that look like for you?
Uh, so I mean, I've said it before, but like getting up in the morning and sitting down. Of course, I get up, I make sure I have some alkaline water,
Okay.
um, and then I'll sit down and journal. Take the time. Hopefully, I'm up before everybody, so I can just have that, just a space to just focus and whatever is on my mind, just to journal it down and everything, and be able to work through that, and also be able to take a few minutes to meditate
Mm-hmm.
and just to center myself for the day, um, so I can show up as my full self to do all the things that need to be done.
Okay. Cool. So, growing up, did you ever see or witness men address their mental health?
No,
When did you start seeing men address their mental health?
it wasn't until like my adult years, unfortunately. Um,
Okay.
I I think it would have been very beneficial to be able to give like a younger me an outlet on how to process certain things.
Right.
As I look back, understanding where I was, in my early teens, hey, this is what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
I know if anybody looked at me back then, just like how they would have looked at me, as I was battling depression, oh,
Right.
he looks fine. He's not saying anything,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Excuse the alarm. It is noon here.
living life wide open. And if you've seen me look over and do the little finger wag, we have our two youngest in the office with us. We're definitely, this is our life. We separate and do our interview here, and our children do schoolwork and entertain themselves back there. In Portugal at noon, they have the tester alarm go off, and that's what we just heard. So, and we're back in.
But I think it would have been beneficial to have a tool on how to process your emotions.
Yeah.
The stigma around like suppressing your emotions, I think it's, to me, yes, there's a time to like, hey, put that on hold,
right,
and focus on what needs to be done. But then there's a time when you have the space that is when, you know, you take time to process whatever you're going through. Just like if you had any type of physical injury,
right,
hey, if you tweaked your arm, you pulled a muscle, or you think you might have broken a bone, you're going to go to a doctor.
right.
Men love their cars. If there's a warning light or two that comes on in the car, they're not going to say, forget it,
Right.
keep driving, keep driving, keep driving. No, you're going to go to a mechanic and be like, hey, what the heck is going on with my car? So you can find that issue, get to the root of it, so your car can function 100%. Same thing, if there's a physical ailment, you're going to go to a doctor and be like, hey, what is the root cause, so I can get back to being 100% myself. So in the same manner, it's the same with your emotional/mental health. There's something that's, weighing on you, dragging you down. Get to the core root of it so you can be your 100% self and be able to be, whether it be, best on your job, be the best partner, be your best father. Doing that, you're operating at your highest self.
True.
At your highest self.
So how has your view of masculinity evolved as you've grown on your healing journey?
I may have touched on it just now, but the whole stigma around you're weak if you acknowledge your emotions, how it's looked down upon, through a lot of men. I would say that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because one, if it wasn't meant for a man to have any type of emotions, we would not have been given them. Just like who gives birth, who plants the seed. Men plant the seed because that's what we were designed for.
Right.
So we were giving emotions for a reason.
Right.
Yes, men are more logical, yada, 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 all that.
Wait a minute, hold on. We want
hey. But at the end of the day, we were given emotions for a reason. And to suppress one aspect of yourself, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
That's almost like going in a boxing ring with one hand tied behind your back.
Right.
So I think for me, it takes courage to be able to face and address the mental struggles or emotional struggles that you're facing, and suppressing that. At the end of the day, it can manifest itself physically.
Absolutely.
Don't believe me? Go ahead and fact check me on it. Fact check me all you want, but it will manifest itself physically, and then you have another problem. But then you're going to be trying to fix the physical problem, not knowing that it's rooted in emotional, mental suppression.
I agree. So why is it important for you to talk publicly about your experience and your journey?
I mean, I just think it's another another echo from the wilderness. Like, hey, you want to be your whole self. You want to be the best man that you can be. Address your mental health. There's nothing wrong. There's no weakness in doing so. It makes you a better man to be able to stand up and face something that is deemed weak.
Yeah. And so my next question, I think you answered it, but what advice would you give to another man watching this who might be struggling with his mental health right now?
Find somebody to talk to.
Okay.
If you don't have a man in your life or a brother in your life that you can talk to, go see a counselor. Go to therapy. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, it makes you a better you when you start addressing that aspect of yourself.
Okay. So with women,
Hmm.
you know, we pick up the phone, hey girl, hey, and then we just blah on each other. That's
Yeah.
just what we do. But men, how do you go about coming to another man to talk about what's going on with your mental health?
I mean, you can gauge it. Like if you went to one of your brothers, like, "Hey, man, have you ever dealt with anxiety?" Their
Right.
response is going to tell you if that's somebody you want to talk to or not. You know,
Okay.
hey, have you ever dealt with anxiety? Man, ain't nobody dealing with that ish.
You're right. Right.
Okay, you're not somebody I want to talk to. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But if you have somebody who is emotionally has some emotional intelligence about them,
Okay.
they're gonna tell you, yeah, I have, and this is what I've done, and they're gonna tell you their journey or what's helped them, or point you in the right direction. Hey, I got
Yeah.
a therapist. I can give you their number. You can
Mm-hmm.
call them and go from there. If you need something else, let me know. Um, that's the way that I would know brothers to go down that path.
I like that. I like that a lot. So looking ahead, how do you see yourself continuing to use and share holistic tools, both for yourself and your community?
Well, um, it's going to be one. I am in the process of finishing up a, I don't how do I want to frame it, a men's mindfulness training journal that touches on
I'm excited about it.
um, your emotional health, also your physical health,
Right.
over a 90-day period.
How many days?
90 days.
Okay.
Yeah, a 90-day journal.
Mm.
Also, we are planning out our co-ed retreat next year, next September. All the details will be coming on that, on location and all of that. So stay tuned. But also being a facilitator for that and helping lead the men's portion of that retreat.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Yes.
And hopefully they can get a 90-day journal during
Hmm.
this retreat.
Oh, that will absolutely be one of the gifts. I might have another one out by that time frame.
Okay, yeah, because you have a whole year. Yeah, so I think it's really cool that you mentioned earlier that you wish you had a you growing up,
Hmm.
but our youngest has a you growing up, and
Yeah.
our many adults has a you as he's growing up. So I really think it's really commendable. I think it's really cool. I think it's good. Do you have anything that you want to add before we close out, honey?
Um, Address your mental health, man.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go and keep it 100. Address your mental health. Um, if you don't have anybody to talk to or anything like that, hey, comment down below and I'll reach out to you and we'll go from there. But absolutely address your mental health. And as brothers, as men, we can lean on one another. And being able to do so makes us only stronger.
Facts. Okay. Well, you pretty much took all of that out of my
Oh, out of your notes?
my notes. So I'm
Oh,
gonna scroll, get to the bottom. I want to thank you today, babe. I think that it's really brave, like you said earlier. It's really courageous, speaking for the folks on Men's Mental Health Month, the last day.
right on.
Right on. So if, like you said, if this was meaningful, if it was helpful, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them down below. Until then, keep living life wide open. Peace.
Peace.